This movie somehow makes the done-to-death Romeo and Juliet emotional again. Hey everybody, welcome to Mainely Movies. As part of my coverage of the 2024 Sundance Film Festival, today I'm going to be talking about the 2024 drama, Ghostlight. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content like reviews, rank lists, and trailer reactions. All my reviews include a breakdown of the pros and cons, my rating, and some tailored film recommendations, so be sure to watch through to the end of this video for all of that extra content. Ghostlight stars Keith Kupferer, Dolly and Katherine Mallen-Kupferer, and was co-directed by Kelly O'Sullivan and Alex Thompson. It tells the story of a grieving but gruff construction worker who finds himself unexpectedly involved in a community theater production of Romeo and Juliet. I am a planner. I'm always looking ahead, and I've always got a schedule no matter what. At home, at work, on vacation or trips. Basically, I always know what I'm gonna do before I do it on any given day. So this planning system applies to days I'm at film festivals as well. I know some people can just get there and then decide what they're gonna do and see, but I always know which screenings I'm going to, which rush lines I'm trying for, and what backups I have before I even leave for the airport. It's very helpful for me because film festivals are chaotic, and it ensures I'm able to get as many movies in as I can, but I recognize that it's a bit rigid. Sometimes it's nice to have some room in the schedule in case anything interesting pops up. And it seems like every year I go to Sundance, I end up adding one unexpected movie to my schedule, simply because of the on-the-ground buzz. Last year, it was Past Lives, which ended up being my favorite movie of the year. This year, that buzzy Sundance movie was Ghostlight. It's the kind of movie that didn't interest me at all based on its description, but everybody was raving about it, so I figured I'd give it a shot. It might not be my favorite of the year, but it's up there, and was easily my biggest surprise of this year's festival. Many people will be able to tell from the name alone, but Ghostlight is a theater movie. Much of the plot centers around a small community theater in Chicago as they try to put on a production of Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. But that doesn't encapsulate all that this movie actually is. It's about theater, but it's also not about theater. It's this very heartfelt story about grief, about family, about community and art. Now, if you're anything like me, you might be ready to tune out at the mere mention of theater. And I get it. Like I said earlier, the description and premise of this film did nothing to interest me. It sounded overly contrived, too sentimental, too stagey, and something very niche for theater lovers. But I've gotta say, from experience, you don't have to like theater to appreciate and enjoy this movie. That said, it's also a movie that theater fans will get a lot out of. The story here relies on theater, but it also transcends it, keeping you invested with a lot of humor, emotion, and precisely doled out pieces of information. Even for people who love theater, a story like this could have easily been too melodramatic or histrionically unbelievable. But that's avoided here largely due to a set of excellent performances. Keith Kupferer is the standout, playing the character of Dan to perfection. It's a role saturated in both grief and humor, and he's able to deliver both aspects of the character with astounding believability. The tender, melancholic, emotional moments are hard-hitting and will reduce most audience members to tears. But then, that's all counterbalanced by some extremely funny situational humor. I mean, we watch as this gruff construction worker get pulled into a community theater, and begrudgingly and awkwardly participates in breathing exercises, silly dances, improv, and all sorts of other theater exercises. The comedic timing and facial reactions alone are enough to elicit audience laughter. Kupferer is great here, but he's just one part of the central family, fittingly rounded out by his actual family, wife Tara Mallen and daughter Katherine Mallen-Kupferer. It's not too often that we see on-screen families played by off-screen families, but it really works here, resulting in an understandably believable family dynamic and strong father-daughter moments. Of course, I can't forget to mention Dolly as fellow theater star Rita. She too brings equal parts humor and pathos, and there's some really interesting to watch chemistry between her and Kupferer. Ghostlight is a cathartic movie, both for the characters and for us in the audience. It's a movie that threatens to be too contrived, too on the nose with its themes, too saccharine and heart-achingly syrupy, but it manages to work. Somehow, everything comes together in an almost perfect blend to make an emotional tale of redemption and forgiveness, a family of grief, of community, of art and passion. It's a powerful movie, but one with a whole lot more laughs than you'd expect from such a tear-inducing film. And let me tell you, there will be tears. You'll probably cry, and if you somehow manage to resist, chances are good 99% of the other people in your theater won't be able to. It's melancholic, it's emotionally taxing, but it's bright and hopeful and funny enough to somehow also be genuinely entertaining and enjoyable at the same time. Alright, let's talk about the pros and cons. Pro number one has got to be the performances. This film has quite a few smaller roles, like most of the members of the theater troupe, but this is a movie really driven by three characters: Dan, Daisy, and Rita. Keith Kupferer is our protagonist here, as gruff but grieving construction worker Dan, who finds himself pulled into a community theater production of Romeo and Juliet. There's a lot of situational humor to be gleaned from that, but Kupferer also delivers on the emotional side too. His real-life daughter, Katherine Mallen-Kupferer, joins him as his on-screen daughter, Daisy. Unsurprisingly, the duo deliver a genuine and believable father-daughter dynamic, only further added by their real-life wife and mother playing, you guessed it, their on-screen wife and mother, respectively. The non-family member, both on and off-screen, is Dolly de Leon. But she more than carves a spot for herself out here as Rita. Like Kupferer, her role demands both emotional nuance and good deal of humor, and she's able to provide both elements in spades. The second pro is the tone. Comedy dramas are certainly nothing new, but it's always a feat when a movie is able to balance its comedy with its tragedy, and Ghostlight has both. This is an extremely funny movie. Between its situational humor, dialogue, and facial expressions, often by Kupferer, this film had the audience repeatedly cracking up. But it also had everybody in the theater crying at multiple points too. And I don't just mean teary-eyed sniffles. We're talking full-on sobbing. It's an incredibly sad and emotional movie, and yet there are enough funny, enjoyable, uplifting elements to keep it entertaining and make you actually want to rewatch it. On the con side, my only issue here is how contrived the story feels. I don't want to get into it too much because I don't want to spoil the tragic mystery that gets set up and slowly revealed over the course of the movie, but I can say that elements of the story fall into place a little too conveniently at times. This results in some exceptionally moving thematic parallels, so it really works from the emotional side of things. But when you take a step back and just view it from a plot perspective, it's definitely more than a little trite and contrived. Luckily, the emotional side of this film is overwhelming, in a mostly good way, so this ends up being a fairly minor con in the grand scheme of the film. Before I give you my rating and recommendations, I want to remind you that if you're interested in buying Ghostlight or any of the other films I mentioned today, I do have affiliate links for all of them in the description below. I get a small commission from anything you buy using one of my links, so I'd really appreciate it if you'd use them if you're in the market for any of these movies. I'm gonna give Ghostlight 4 out of 5 paws. In spite of a trite premise setup, this movie manages to pull its powerful interwoven story together in a very moving way, featuring a set of fantastic performances and a story that generates just as many laughs as it does tears. This is an impactful film about the cathartic power of art and community. I would recommend Ghostlight to anybody looking for a heartfelt and emotional drama, or for those dealing with grief. This is a very moving story that's sure to induce tears, but it manages to avoid ever feeling manipulative or melodramatic. In fact, it's actually quite funny, providing a wonderful tonal balance to its family and community-based story. Theater people will greatly appreciate the power of art themes, but you definitely don't need to be a theater fan to enjoy this one. If you liked Ghostlight, I would recommend Drive My Car. This is another film that centers around grief and loss, and looks at how creating art and forming connections with others can help a person through difficult times. It's another melancholic film, though much less straightforward and more of a slow burn than Ghostlight. If you like the idea of an unlikely person finding catharsis through theater, you should definitely check out Sing Sing. Based on the actual rehabilitation through the arts program at Sing Sing Prison, it tells the story of a group of inmates who find a sense of purpose and community through theater and art. And if you'd like to step away from theater, you might want to watch Mass. This is another very emotional film about grief, loss, and catharsis, driven almost exclusively by 4 strong performances and the slow reveal of its central tragedy. Alright, a couple questions for you guys. Number 1, have you seen Ghostlight? If so, what'd you think of it? And number 2, what's your favorite movie about dealing with grief? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments below so we can get a discussion going. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insight, or information out of this review, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe or at it to see more videos like this. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainely Movies, the way life should be.